Hi, I'm Chuck
and Deb,
and welcome to Biker Life Radio. We're so truly grateful and thankful that you've joined us today. We've got a fantastic show lined up just for you.
Biker Life Radio is for those who ride and those who inspire to ride. We are here to reveal the truth behind the motorcycle mystique and bring real-life stories of the biker lifestyle.
All right, well, welcome back, everybody. We're glad to be back. It's been, I think I noticed today, 6 months since we've done a podcast and a video to go along with that podcast. And it's been a crazy time, hasn't it? We're now in January of 2021.
Wow.
We are in totally a different world than we used to live in before. At least it appears that way to me. It's strange. But it is nice to be back on the air, although it was a royal pain to get back into the swing of things. When you can't find a microchip and things that you haven't had laying around for a while or studio set up like we had in the past, it brings back memories of why maybe we haven't done something in 6 months.
Oh, come on now. It just took a little effort to kind of get things back on track, but we're here and I am so excited. The one thing that I have to tell you about is anytime I wear a hat that I almost feel, do you remember Tony Little?
Oh yeah, you look like
gazelle.
Tony. You actually remind me of Tony Little.
Tony Little doing his gazelle.
I think maybe I made fun of you about that before. Maybe that's why you think that way.
Now
I don't know.
Yeah, so I
You're
got all
like
this
Tony Little
mop, and I should be doing the gazelle. That's right.
You got to look a little bit better at the gazelle. Tony would look really good on the gazelle. Those feet going back and forth.
Okay, I'll work on it then.
Yeah.
But yeah, sometimes that's the way I feel when my hair is kind of
well,
fluffy.
if you turn sideways, you get the Tony Little ponytail back there.
The full effect. There we go. So there's.
Didn't he have a ponytail too?
He had a whole bunch of hair behind his hat. So
hey, he made out pretty good, I do believe. I saw something a while back on him.
Okay.
So that was pretty interesting. So yeah, we haven't been around for a while. A lot of you probably have been wondering where we've been. We actually did get an email from
Bob
out of Texas.
Yep.
And he was like wondering what's going on with you guys. Whatever happened to the story? Whatever happened to Thumper? What else did he ask? Was there anything else?
I think that was the most important part, is not about anything about us, which is fine, but he really wants to know what the scoop is with Thumper, because the last that we had let everyone know is that Thumper's kind of on his down and out. And unfortunately, Thumper's still kind of down and out. So
yeah, Thumper is currently down and out. And, there's no real excuse as to why we just stop doing the podcast. Obviously, there's no excuse for anything really. When you really think about it, you either do it or you don't, right?
Right.
And but there was a lot of excuses or reasons we could give you, such as COVID, right?
Yeah.
And it did slow down some things, biker events. We were doing some of those things, but we've decided that that might not be the place that we're heading. Now, that doesn't mean that we may never do it in the future,
right?
But what happened was our fun turned into work.
Yeah.
And, you want to be able to ride, you want to be able to have a good time and not necessarily work all the time. So, over this period of time, we've had an opportunity to reflect on where we would like the podcast to go.
Right.
And we're still actually working on that. It's still a work in progress, which is a good thing. I will say that I have been quite depressed over the last 6 months. And the main reason for that is Thumper. Thumper is not working at this time. However, maybe being on the airwaves here, maybe because Deb and you and I have talked about it, and we just order some parts in order to work on it for ourselves.
Right.
Because I have a jack to jack up Thumper. And what we've got to do is just catch people up a little bit, is there was a cam bearing that went out when I was about 500 miles away from Colorado. And we were in Memphis, Texas.
You were in Texas.
I was, that's right. Yeah. Just a little bit outside of Memphis, Texas, where Thumper broke down. It was just really hot. There's a number of reasons that Thumper didn't make it, I think. Being weighed down could have been part of it. There was a problem as we started off, if any of you did follow it, and I can't remember how much of what I did, I let people know about, but there was a problem apparently with the oil pump, I think.
Right.
I was having to replace oil or fill it with oil often. So after talking to our mechanic, we decided to go ahead and take a chance and went for it, and it went quite a ways.
Oh,
And I planned on that night to make it to Colorado Springs.
surprising.
I wanted to surprise and just drive through, but unfortunately, with that heat, that was in July,
Right.
and the heat and whatever, maybe the oil pump or something wasn't working well enough to get the oil to where it needed to go. I don't know. So bottom line is I have a cam bearing that's out. We did order because I have a jack. It's it's
Motorcycle lift.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's a motorcycle lift, but because of my Dyna, you can't really use it on that because of the little wings that are up underneath on the frame. So we had to order some parts for that to go on to the motorcycle lift, and I'm not sure that I want to do that now because,
Oh,
it's a project that I thought about that we could do together. And maybe we will. I don't know. I just don't feel like time's of essence, as you all know. So it's going to take a lot of time. And I would rather, if I could find a way to get it up and running faster, that would make me very happy.
that's the goal. Right.
I just don't feel the same. We have 3 other bikes in the garage, but Thumper is my bike. I love Thumper, and Thumper could actually get in the way of Deb a little bit. That's how much I love my bike.
Yeah, that's really nice. But yeah, and so it's not that we haven't been riding
Yeah.
because of Thumper, but we haven't been riding
It-
as much and the way we would normally like to ride. So
And-
that's been kind of a bummer.
And I just don't feel the same.
Right.
My bike, I love my high bars, and I love the way it moves or moved.
Yeah.
And I love everything about my bike. There are some things that I would like to change, maybe a seat or something along those along with that. But first of all, I got to get it on the road. And once I get it on the road, I will be doing much better. But actually, it's true what they say about wind therapy. So whenever we did take out the bikes, I would ride Bourbon is the bike that would ride. That's the CVO we've got. And Deb would ride the Annie.
All right, our anniversary Softail. So, yeah, and let's just kind of talk about Annie because we did mention some things with Annie. We had a friend that had a slight accident with it, and you also had noticed. I think this was interesting. You had ridden Annie one time when we were shuffling or getting tires on bikes or something, and you had noticed that rear brake was a little different from what you're used to, even on any of the motorcycles that you ride. And so I think what's important about that is they are all different, and it's a matter of getting used to it and bonding. We'll talk about bonding with our bikes here a little bit later, but
that's what
so
I
wanted
like
to kind of
do
just
with Thumper.
lay that. I know, bond again with Thumper. So, it's interesting. They're different. And that's one thing that I think is important about riding as you become a more experienced rider and get some of that longevity under your belt, bonding with it and knowing how your motorcycle is going to work and operate is an important
I
part.
think that's a weird word you're using, bonding with your motorcycle.
Bonding. Yeah.
Is that the word they use in your training?
They did.
Oh,
Yes.
okay. All right.
So,
So it's an
yeah,
official word.
it is an official word when it comes to motorcycling.
So I know that there's been a lot of space that's gone by between. I think we probably did a broadcast back in July, and I think it was out of the RV,
right?
Because that was sort of the direction that we were moving in, and still may. In regards to not only biker life, but adding some RV life to what we do.
Right.
And in fact, we've actually gone out and had several different trips that we've taken in the RV, some with the bikes and some without. And so that's been real good. And, we even went to Daytona. We did the ride there this year. It was a nice place we stayed at. Really enjoyed that. We didn't really actually go to where the events were much. We just did what we felt like doing. We did riding, which is what we like to do the most. So, we checked out the usual, but it was just the same old, same old. And for me right now, that just happens to be where I am. It just seems like the same bike events have the same old things. And so I've changed a little bit in regard to that. I'd rather be out on the bike riding. I do enjoy meeting other people and talking to people, even though I am an introvert. I really won't do that. But Deb, I'm doing all the talking here. Why don't you sort of take over?
Nobody would know that if they were like meeting you on the show, because that's not the way you are. But it is truly, an introvert inside. And so the one thing about Daytona that I thought was interesting is we did stay on the north end of the activity. So a good part of what happens is at the Destination Daytona Harley Davidson dealership. And so we were really
Right
close to
there.
that right
Could have
proximity. And
walked.
we could have walked there. But, there was a lot of apprehension around that, whether it was going to happen, if it was going to happen in the same way. And so
Actually,
again,
it didn't happen. It was closed, if I remember right. They closed downtown where they normally have the bike rally.
right. They
Bike
didn't
event.
allow the vendors and didn't give any permitting for that. So
Right.
the downtown area where, a big portion of the hustle and bustle is for Bike Week didn't happen. But I think we still had a good time. Again, we got out to do some of the rides that we don't get to do very often, enjoyed some of that landscape of Daytona, but also, there's a JP cycle there. There's a couple of other things. They had bands, but it was actually, I think, quite a bit lower key
Well,
than normal.
I don't. It was. But also we went early. We were there very early, and I noticed as we were leaving, there were more and more people coming, and it didn't seem pretty busy. We did go out to that restaurant, and they were busy on that rainy day that we had. So
yeah, that's right.
remember that?
I forget. Yeah. Walk out and it's pouring, and so good
Just
thing
get
we
on the
didn't have
bike and ride. We
we
only
didn't
had
have far to ride.
half a mile to go, so it wasn't too bad, and it wouldn't have been that bad anyway. We've done that before.
Yeah.
Been there, done that.
So the RV life is a little bit different, and RV bike life is a little bit of a mix of the both. And so, yeah, I definitely look for us to include that in the future. And it's just going to give us the opportunity to go see more, do more, and ride in more magnificent places. So I'm super stoked about that. But there's a lot of adjustment to that too, is figuring out your home on the road and how you're going to live that life and how it's going to work. And then the motorcycles. And there's a lot of what we talk about moving parts, not just with motorcycling, but now we've got this whole home on the road.
What is the
Home
place we
on the
went to
road.
up? Yeah. What is the place we went to up north? Homosassa? What was that?
We went to the Crystal River area.
Oh, I love Crystal River.
Yeah.
We may move up there one of these days.
Yeah, it's
We
beautiful.
really love that area. And we had a good time there. We had the bike, so got to do some riding there. And actually, we got out to go out on the water. And so that was good. And so we enjoyed that. And one of the things that happened during the COVID is, and part of our thinking, I guess, or my thinking was about during the podcast, was that, it was like hard to want to share what we were doing. So a lot of these events we didn't share with you that we were out doing. And part of me was saying that I just didn't want to, I didn't think it was right to show that we were out having fun, on Facebook and on social media, and while everybody else maybe had been locked down or whatever they're calling it these days. And there's probably some people that are still locked down or in their homes and can't get out. And so, but looking back on it, that was probably a really sad, a really terrible mistake, because maybe, I don't know, maybe it would have enlightened some people. Maybe it would have helped some people that couldn't get out, inspire some people, or just giving some people to be able to point their finger and laugh at me. Maybe that would have been enough, and make fun of me. So, but it would have served a purpose, right?
Right.
So, you can't call the shots right all the time. And that didn't play a huge part, but that is a thought that I did have. And I think I even told you, Deb, I just don't want, Facebook has this tendency of where all you ever see on Facebook, or the majority of what you see on Facebook, is everybody having a good time and living this superior, great life. Right. Well, you don't always see the other side of it. And so I felt like that just wasn't really what I wanted to do. I didn't really want to be that person that always just seems to always be out having a good time, because quite honestly, that's not life. And actually, Deb, we've sort of struggled over the last 6 months. Financially, our life has changed immensely about everything around us. We've had a lot of changes going on.
Correct.
That we didn't expect to happen in our lives. And so again, to give you another excuse, that's why life happens. Even though COVID was shut down, that life still continues to happen. You still have to pay your bills. You still have to take care of family and do the things that you need to do. And you still have to take on a cat if you have to.
I'm glad you mentioned that, because it is not the cat, but just the fact that, life has been different for everybody, I think, over the last 6 months. And so it was a little bit challenging to figure out the right step to take and what what people needed.
Right.
I know initially what we did is we did do very successfully. We had some COVID happy hours and Friday
Oh
happy
yeah.
hours and things. So
Matter
we
of fact,
had
I
some
think we
great
were one of the
times.
first that launched that. That was a really good time. Since then, I stopped
Yeah.
drinking, but for the most part. But yeah, I thought that was a
That was,
real plus,
it
and
was a blast.
we probably needed to continue that, and
Yeah, just bringing
what you
people
gonna do?
together. And so
Yeah,
again,
having a good time.
you never know the right choices and right decisions, but you just kind of go with what your gut says. And that's where we were, is that we had enough of life's up and downs happening with us too. Lots of family, different things happening. And like you said, a cat coming and all that
And
sort
the
of stuff.
grandchild takes up, it's just,
Right.
those are the things that you want to enjoy. So in a way, we were enjoying a lot of life, and then in a way we were taking care of a lot of responsibilities and getting things ready. We're still in the process of doing some things that we hope to launch out to the audience here, and that's actually in the work. It's actually, I thought about mentioning it today, Deb, because one of the parts to it is already finished, other than one last video that you have to do, and we can maybe bring that up at a later time, but it's basically done. Actually, I do have to rebuild something.
Yeah, you
now.
have to do something else. There are a
Something else
couple
got
pieces
changed,
that
so
have to adapt now
but
because of changes.
we did
so.
complete something, but now we've got to restructure that too. So it's all about time, and it's amazing when you get to be my age, time becomes very valuable.
Is that like, oh, crickety and old? Is that what you're trying to say that you are? I don't know.
Just be careful.
Okay.
You're going to be here soon.
You show it pretty well. So I love that.
That's my COVID. Those from the podcast can't see it. You go out to YouTube, but I do have a COVID beard. I haven't shaved in probably probably almost a year. And I'm not doing very good. I wish I could do better with my beard. I would really like to be able to, for some reason, I just can't get it to grow longer. I'm sort of afraid to cut it because I don't want to mess it up. And I haven't had a haircut in at least 6 months. That's for certain.
And I'm so glad that you're wearing a hat so people don't see
that. I can show them. I got long hair. I got long hair all the way down the middle part of my back.
You're almost ready for a man bun or something like that.
Just kidding about that, but it is pretty long.
Yeah. So there's just been a lot of things happening, and so I'm glad that we're back. There's been lots of really good things because again, what people may not realize is that taking on that RV and that travel life, now we've got a trailer that we have to kind of adapt to motorcycles, and we made it work somewhat to get us to Daytona with 2 motorcycles, but we still have a lot of work on that too. So if anyone can send us any great ideas of how to equip the trailer, we've got the E-Tracks sitting here ready to install, and we'll start to kind of design that interior of the trailer, so we have all of our equipment and all that sort of stuff. So I'm kind of looking forward to it. It's almost like decorating our home for our motorcycles. That's kind of a cool thing.
There's a lot of different things we can do with it, to hold our helmets or tools or things like that.
Right.
So that's going to require some work, and again, some more time, right?
Right. Everything's about time.
I'm not sure I finished, just in case I didn't get the point across. If any of our listeners are opening up a shop here and need to get some publicity somehow through us and want to help me to work on my bike, that'd be really cool.
Yeah, we will definitely spotlight you for sure, and would love the partnership that we could put together. So please just reach out, let us know. We'd love to do that.
And I don't mind helping work on the bike. I mean, like I said, Deb and I were going to work on it. We still may. It just depends on that lift, if we can get that working, because really what I really need is a table and not the lift. Anyway, I'll go back. I just want to get that in while I was popping.
Well, the lift where we lift the entire motorcycle up all on the same platform, I think, because that's
that way the jack or the lift is not in the way, and the instructions are calling for the lift part to be on the side that I need to work on. So it just seems difficult to really get in there, and we're limited on space in the garage as well. But we'll figure that out. Thumper will be on the road. I'm hoping that Thumper will be on the road, hopefully by the end of February. That would be real nice, because I've got to get out there. I've got to ride. I really do. Riding really, it really does make a difference in my life. And it's just freeing to be able to get out and do it. And every time I do, I just fall in love all over again.
Yeah, absolutely. Every time, even if it's a short ride, we come back and we feel rejuvenated. So I know that that's such an important part of our life that we need to make sure we do it more.
Wind therapy, right?
That's right. Well, one thing that I want to talk about regarding riding is I recently because our listeners don't know, but I recently became certified to teach the advanced writers course. Now,
Oh, big shot wheeler dealer here.
no. Just it's about learning some new skills and techniques and sharpening those skills so that writers that have been writing for a long time, sometimes you wonder, so what next? Or what can I get better at if you really want to continue to improve? And so there are three, I'm just going to kind of talk about three takeaways that I had personally. And then there was a whole lot more that we could talk about. But cornering is really such an important aspect. And one of the things that that course taught me is how to maximize your traction for tires on the asphalt, but yet positioning your body so that you've got some great lean angle and can tighten up curves and turns that you never imagined before. So there were some cool techniques that you got to practice, or I got to practice. I was with 11 other people that were getting certified as well as others that were certified for all sorts of other things. And so that was one major takeaway for me. Also, the idea of quick braking, fast stops, because in any situation, I think that where there's an accident involved, what techniques could always, and I'm always all about, well, what could someone have done different if they were in an accident? What skill could they have practiced more of to possibly avoid it? Not maybe all the time, 100%. So fast stops, quick braking, and there was a lot of that going on in this particular course as well. And then also we did some exercises on visual scanning. And one of the things that I thought was really a great aha moment for me is the fact that what I will visually scan and see as a rider is so completely different than what you would visually scan and see. And so whether you're picking up a piece that I missed or I pick up a piece that you missed as a rider, and again, just sharpening those visual skills so that we can adapt and watch everything that's going on around us. Um, so that's the advanced writers course. Your local area, either a Harley Davidson, not everyone has the ability to teach the advanced writers course, but I just want to throw that out there. If you want to sharpen your skills and or look for some new techniques to become a better rider, by all means, reach out to one of your local schools, a Harley Davidson dealer, and see if they have the ability or coaches that can teach that for you. One of the books that came with it, and I'm just going to show this to all of those that are on YouTube right now, is the Sport Riding Techniques, written by Nick Einosh. And again, I read that, and there were so many things that he talks about on a track level that you don't have to do quite like the track riders do. But if you understand the concept and technique, even street riding, it can fine tune things for each of us as a rider that we never anticipated. It can, tighten those corners, body positioning, and not only just either leaning into the curve or doing your offsets by counterweighting. There are all sorts of other positions that you can learn to do as a rider to give you all sorts of really cool things and maneuverability and bonding with your motorcycle. So making sure that you get to feel good and know how it's going to work and operate when you want and need it to.
So what is the bonding of the motorcycle?
It's spending enough time on it, because here the concept is in the motorcycling world, either one, people say that you've been riding for X number of years, you've been a rider for 5, 6, 7 years, you've got all of that experience. And if you truly stretch yourself to change up the type of riding, whether you do some track riding from time to time, or if you go do long distance rides, you're constantly seeing new different experiences so that you can continue to advance your skills. But if you just keep riding the same old locations, going to the same old places, doing the same old ride, it could be that you've been riding for 5 years, but you've had the same 1 year of experience 5 years over and over again. So, that's what I kind of was, again, an aha moment for me was like, wow, well, how do I ride and how do I want to ride, and what kind of information do I want to share with others? And so again, like you said, changes are coming. And that's one thing that we're going to be doing kind of moving forward too, is there's lots of changes coming regarding what we do on Biker Life and all other aspects of life.
Yeah, actually, here's what's real positive about our podcast. Though we stepped aside for 6 months, we gained followers, I guess, if you will. We gained downloads. We gained more people that are listening. And we're just grateful that for all of you that have been listening, because as we've not been there, we've actually seen increases on the podcast, the YouTube channel, not so much. So we could use some help there. Because I checked that out real quick before we got on. But one of the biggest episodes, most viewed episodes, was the one that Deb talked about improving riding skills. And so that listed up as the top. So that told us something. That told us that you all want to hear more about improving your riding. Maybe you're someone who wants to learn how to ride and you want to know maybe some tips or things like that for the class so that you can be prepared, or just maybe you want to figure out, is riding for you?
Right.
And I would say riding's for everybody, but we obviously know that's not true.
Right.
But there's only one way to really find out, and that's to give it a shot. And that's to take one of these classes that Deb actually does. So in the future, Deb, what I forgot to remind you of is in the introduction, you should introduce yourself as Rider Coach Deb, because you are a rider coach.
I am. Yes, I am.
So yeah, we'll have more of Deb be doing that kind of thing, that to be able to help people experience riding in a better way, if you will. I actually took the advanced riders course, not with her because it would have driven me crazy. She would have, right? No.
Yes. In more than one way, not the good way.
No,
so.
But I took it, and it was with a group of guys, a group of riders, group of friends. And we had a blast. It was a good time. It was a lot of work. It was tough on Thumper. I actually took Thumper out there, and it was a little bit tough on Thumper, I think, but it was good. It was very valuable information, and I really enjoyed the class. So I would urge you, if you're a rider and you haven't taken a class in a while, it's nothing like the basic class that you've got to get to obtain your license. These increase your skills that you may not have had, may not know. You may be doing them, you may not be doing them.
Right.
And I know that a lot of us, and I'm probably the first one to admit it, I probably have tons of bad habits. Because nobody taught me otherwise. I mean, I start off, basically doing dirt bike riding, and I figured it out on my own. I didn't have anybody there teaching me. So I developed my own habits. They may be good, they may be bad. I don't know. I didn't really have anybody critique that, but that's what's coming in the future. So Rider Coach Deb will be supplying a lot of that good information, and I think it'll be very important to those who ride again, and those who want to ride. That's actually part of our introduction. Deb, what does it say there? You got the introduction there?
For those who inspire to ride and those who inspire others to ride.
And so what does that mean? It means the ones who inspire to ride are the ones who want to learn how to ride. Those who
Correct.
are just thinking about getting out there and riding a motorcycle for the very first time. And then it's the second part is also for those who already ride. Okay. So that's the meaning behind that. And that's what we see, what we find out from what you're telling us is what you want.
Right.
And we haven't seen, and I'm not that much into looking around for things, but I haven't seen any other show or podcast that there is one guy out there, but he's mostly YouTube, and he does a great job. I can't remember his name, but he's on
MC
YouTube.
Rider.
Maybe so.
Yeah.
He does a great job too. So, Deb will maybe give some tips, maybe even from more of a woman's point of view. And then I could chime in and just crush it all.
Probably. So that'll be a good combination, because there are lots of things I have found as a lady rider that I need to consider differently than what a man would. So
like panties.
Well, yes, I wasn't going to go there, but just all the bling on the shirts that ladies think is the coolest thing ever, which it is beautiful. It makes it look great. But as a rider, if your shirt or jacket, whatever's got the bling going on, if it's too loose, it actually, as you're riding, will beat against you. And it's not like just flapping in the wind. I don't like that. It's uncomfortable. It hurts.
Maybe if you were braless.
No, it would hurt even worse. Oh my heavens.
I'm just asking a question.
I know, you're just kind of crushing it, right?
Whatever.
So, that's one simple thing that I know men's stuff doesn't typically come blingy like women's stuff and gear and riding things are. So it depends on what capacity you're doing. If I was a passenger, the bling would be beautiful and I wouldn't have to worry about it. But as a rider, it's something different that I now have to think about.
What I don't understand, what difference would it make?
Because you're actually taking the impact of the wind as the rider, not protected by the rider in front of you as a passenger. So those are the two significant differences. If I'm riding and I've got all that bling happening, depending upon if I have a windshield or no windshield or any of that stuff, it's changing the dynamic of what's happening to me while I ride. So I don't like that too much.
Is that just a personal thing? Or is it something you learned?
It may be, and it is something that I learned because I learned the hard way. I have one particular shirt that I can't remember where the bling is, but it was up here in the upper, near close to the collar or whatever. And that just would, in the wind on the highway at 70 miles an hour plus, it's just beating your skin. It's not.
So what are we talking about here? Just a distraction?
Probably. Yeah, it is. And it is when you're riding and that's happening as a distraction. Absolutely. All you're trying to do, we've got so many things at play that it's taken me away from the focus on the road. It's taken me from, my focus off of the things that I need to be on because now I'm concerned about my attire that's not working too well.
Or because it's bothering you because
It's
it's hitting your
bothering.
skin or whatnot.
Yes, right.
So you're not totally focused, but maybe you could put on another shirt underneath it or something. So there's a solution
There's
to
some
that problem.
solutions. Yeah, there's
So it
possible.
sounds like you're saying women don't wear bling. That's not what you're
I'm
saying.
not saying that. No, I'm not saying that at all.
Okay.
So
women are going to wear their bling.
Absolutely.
I'm going to wear my bling.
And Harley Davidson makes some really cool blingy things for women. So that's why they make them, because we love them. But what I would do, maybe if that's the shirt I wanted to wear, maybe I would wear a jacket riding that would I could cover that bling up and wouldn't have to worry about it if it's not too hot. Or I maybe change into it when I need to, when I get there. So again, just some other options. But what my point was, kind of getting back to that, is that things for women as riders, I think, can drastically differ than men. And so we'll talk about some of those things.
Okay. Well, that should be interesting.
Yeah. And if you have any things that the men need to know, then by all means.
I wouldn't know. I just like to ride.
You guys don't talk about that. Women do. We talk about all that stuff.
I just like to get out and ride and enjoy the ride.
Okay. Sounds good. So
what else do we have to cover? We've gone 30 minutes at this point.
Okay.
And I just want to make sure that we've got everything covered. Again, if you don't know about the show, we just really pretty much fly by the seat of our pants. We have an idea of what we want to do.
Yeah.
But we don't,
Yeah, it's not all scripted out. That's for sure. So no, I just want to make sure that those that are listening to the podcast, if you want to find us on YouTube, because obviously some of the things we're talking about are a little bit visual, is that you can certainly find us on YouTube under bikerlifepodcast.com. No. Okay. See, I'm a little rusty on this. Yeah.
Bikerlifepodcast.com is for the podcast.
Okay.
We're under YouTube still, as we started off on the Chuck-n-Deb show.
Okay.
And so it's still on the Chuck-n-Deb show. You can search that on YouTube and that'll take you to the channel and you can see the videos there.
Okay.
We're also on Apple, Spotify, and your normal podcast. And what could really help us, if you do listen to on one of those podcast platforms, if you'd leave us a comment,
yes,
good, bad, ugly, indifferent, whatever, and it would really appreciate it. Something maybe that you want us to cover as we move forward. We are open to that. And, we're really grateful that all of you are here. We're grateful for the new people who have been following us during COVID. And that's actually what stood out to me, is because I didn't look at the stats till, maybe a week or so ago. And that's when I realized that, my thought process about maybe people didn't want to see other people out there just having a good time like everybody else on Facebook. But when I saw the stats revealed that it was different.
Yeah.
So it revealed to me that maybe I was wrong, and that more people wanted to hear or be able to have a way to escape and do things, see what's going on outside themselves and outside, the outside world. Hopefully everything opens back up here and we don't have to deal with this stuff anymore.
Absolutely. So if you do,
Florida is, thank God we live in Florida.
I know. So if you would, please click the like and subscribe on YouTube, and also make sure that you subscribe and like the podcast as well. If you would leave a comment and or a topic, let us know. What we'll do is reach out and we'll actually send you a little happy surprise package. How about that?
That'd be good. And also on Facebook, you can find us on Facebook. That's at Biker Life Radio. So when you do your search on Facebook, that's Biker Life Radio.
Okay.
All right. Well, it's great to be back. We are going to move forward. We don't know at this point how often, though we know consistency is important. And so we will try to do this on a weekly basis. We'll try to fit it into our busy, hectic schedule life, but we're going to do it. And we just hope you come along for the ride with us.
That's right. So hop on the back or hop on the front and let's take off and enjoy the ride together. So
thanks, everybody. Really appreciate you being here. I'm Chuck.
And Deb.
And this is Biker Life Radio. Take care, everybody.
See you again soon.